No, but I love what you're saying, like inspiring people to make action plans.
Yeah,
and not feel frozen,
small
bro.
steps.
Small
Start
steps.
with
So
small steps.
what are some of those things? Because like you said, sustainability is a great point.
Yeah.
Like how can we do more of that?
So one of my friends, he put out a plot of land and grew food and started canning. Now, we don't know how much time that we have to prepare. So if we're going from this moment and we haven't prepared, non-perishable items that will get you through 7 to 30 days. And there's a whole bunch of kits out online. If you want to buy a kit, you can just buy a kit. Or if you want to go to the store and just stock up a little bit. But first thing is just stock up. You can do that with purchasing, obviously. But then let's go a little bit further, obviously, with what you do with organic gardening.
Right.
No farmers, no food. So, if you're not a gardener.
It's pretty simple, right?
Right.
Like, if you
don't plant anything, you'll harvest anything.
It's so simple, right? And if that's what I was teach you guys at For Freedom, man. Yeah, like let's do it, guys.
Yeah.
And we were actually eating salads from that garden. Like I think about how cool would it be to have institutions all over Florida, families all over Florida eating from their garden.
Right.
Every season.
Right. And then there isn't if you do it right, there's an abundance.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're seeing it. You brought me a bag of abundance from somewhere you just gardened. So like I appreciate
That's from our farm.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate you bringing me some fresh fruit.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm no expert on the food preparation. I will leave that up to you to help people further on. The next thing.
But you're a part of it, brother.
Right. So let's say the next thing the power goes out. Well, basics. What do you need to function if the power goes out? And what is most basic? Is it refrigeration? Some people it's air conditioning.
Yeah. Freezer.
Freezer is a big one. Yeah. So there are products out there that, maybe you're in an area that was solar. Maybe you're in an area that you have propane backup, and maybe you have a gas generator.
I'm curious about this. I got to ask you this. What do you think about, like, we're so dependent on our cars and our phones.
Right.
So even if something like that were to happen where it's like worst case,
Yeah.
they turn off all our Teslas and all our whatever phones.
You got a Starlink? I don't have a Starlink.
I don't have one.
I think Starlink, you can have a cell phone that may survive some of this stuff.
Interesting.
But,
okay.
If you don't charge it.
Yeah. But it's like, what does it even matter?
So, and we'll get to that in the next part, answering the next question. I want to move on to the money.
And cool, because,
the money bit.
Let's talk about that, and then let's talk about the vision of the future too, man.
Sure. So the money side of thing, I'm not, the most wealthy person on the planet.
Financial advisors.
I'm not giving any advice. I'm just saying what I have done.
Yes.
So what I have done is put aside a small amount of earnings into silver. And so 1 ounce, 5 ounce, 10 ounce.
Cool, man.
And so
hard money.
So it's silver's in you can make it into 1,000 different things. So it's got a great utilitarian. It's also, there's 10 ways to prove that it's pure or that it's real. So it's hard for the bad guys to mess with. And so, and then it's
like what?
Well,
like what?
As far as my favorite's an ice cube. You put an ice cube on a piece of silver and you can watch it melt. Now, if you compare it to other metals, there's one or two metals that are similar, but silver is very unique. Now, the other thing that's cool about silver is once you do get that ice cube on there and it melts through, you pick up a 5 or a 10 ounce piece of silver and feel it. Its thermodynamic properties are very unique. So the size, the weight, the way it shines, the way it tarnishes, and then there's other more technical tests that you can do on it, but it's the easiest entry into a store of wealth.
Because gold's more. Because why not gold? It's more expensive.
It's easy to fake, and the buy-in point, and so.
Got it.
How much is silver? Gold's, right now? Well, and people don't. So people need to know the spot price and then the price that they get it in their hands price, and there's a spread in there. So, where do
you keep yours? Sorry, I don't want to interrupt you. Spot price.
in a hidden room at a secret location guarded by somebody 24/7. You know, it's like, well,
but they have like apps you could store it. That's what I'm saying.
Like I encourage people to try to keep it on themselves.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, or within arm's reach, or within walking distance. But funny, long story short, you know, when I was traveling, I went to 17 states. I went over to England and back, and I was going through every airport, and they were pushing my bag off to the side for further inspection. I'm like, yeah, I know you're going to inspect my bag. They're like, what's in here? And I'm like, 70 ounces of silver.
Did anybody give you a hard time?
No, they just want to know what's in there, because on the x-ray, it just shows that I got all of this stuff. Wow. And you know, it's all stacked up. And so they're like, what? Because it shows up unique, and they just want to see what it is, because they can't really make out
for sure
what it is. And it's nothing bad. And I'll literally tell the agent, I'll tell the agent right there, I'm like, this is real money. Mm-hmm. Like, if we can print paper, well, if I print a 1 on the paper, or I print a 100 on the paper, wait a minute. Like now they're messing with our imagination. Dude. So when we go from when people are happy with imagination, and when they have a stone cold reality wake up, and they realize, wait a minute, silver has real value, gold has real value. And there's other things that people can do. I'm just saying, you know, even let's say you go to the ATM and it's run dry. Or, for example, last year I went to the bank teller and I wanted to cash a check. And I said large. And she didn't have 17 $100 bills. She gave me like 14 and then the rest in 50s. And I'm like, what's this? She's like, that's all the 100s I have in my drawer at the moment. So I, like, for $1,700, I got to clean out a bank drawer. It was kind of funny on a check that I cashed.
Dude, yeah.
So I'm saying if you have the ability to quietly and slowly and carefully take out maybe 2 to 4 weeks of currency to have it on hand.
You just start working towards it. You know?
So I'd already done that. And, you know, it's like, so in any case, you know, like, I'm not giving any advice. I'm just saying what I had already done even last year or about 6 months ago. But, you know, just take a deep breath and think this thing through and what would work best for you. So that way, you know, let's say in a scenario, banks close tomorrow, you know, go. Yeah. You know, what are you going to do? So.
Dude, is there anything else we could get into?
So there's one. How much time do you?
Yeah.
I got a short one. If we want to add this in there, is understand in the depopulation movement, people are disposable. You can delete them, you can cancel them, you can unfriend them, you can unfollow them, and you can block them. Sure. But when the stuff hits the fan, it's just you and the people that live on the other side of you. So if you've treated your neighbor like a piece of trash, you may want to say, hey, you know, I've not been a good neighbor. I've not been a good friend to you.
Here's some bananas.
Right. So, like, but dude, you may realize...
You can't unfriend them. That's what you're saying.
Well, you may want to build some bridges with people right around you, because we're going to go from a global society real fast. If all 3 of those switches get food, energy, and money all get flipped real fast, and we have none of that for the next 3 to 30 days, you're going to need people in your neighborhood to look out for one another. And so... even if you just want to borrow something small, or you just want to share something small. So
and I want to go back to that. Dude.
So we're going to go from global to local, and you know, how are we going to understand that we're going to go from a codependent society or a slave society to a interdependent, where it's mutually beneficial, where you care about your neighbors and there's symbiotic relationships, and everybody lifts up the community by finding the weakest person in that community and lifting them up. Wow. Yeah. So when we get a vision of heaven on earth, and how I came to this understanding was when we were locked down, it was like being a school child being told to sit down, be quiet, and not ask any questions.
Dude, my least favorite thing to do.
Right. And so it's like you're given a puzzle piece in your hand that's gray side up, and I'm like the curious kid that flips it over and says, oh, mine's got color on it. Does yours have color on it? Does yours have? And all of a sudden the class is out of control, because now you have this kid that's going excited, and he's getting all these other kids excited. And then you find an edge piece, a corner piece. Then you find connection. Once you find two puzzle pieces that connect together, and you have that epiphany or that awakening moment, then once we get this puzzle together enough that we start to see heaven on earth, and once we stand in the truth and the light and in peace and in harmony and with our arms locked together, we're unstoppable. And so when people catch that vision, yes, we will. So what is happening is,
this is so good.
The impurities are coming to the surface, and they're going to get wiped off. So like heating silver, if you heat silver, it'll turn into liquid. The impurities will come to the top, and then you wipe the dross off, and then you've got a pure society. And so purity. Going forward, we're going to have this society that has more of a pure heart, that has a better vision of tomorrow. And so I'm extremely optimistic. Of course, everybody's like, oh, the sky is falling, the world's ending, and this is terrible.
Right.
Yeah, it may be the end of evil, but I do believe that we're coming into 1,000 years of peace. And so that's the energy that I'm bringing. I mean, that's what I've read. You know, you turn to the last chapter of the good book, and it kind of starts out with an angel that's going to apprehend a bad guy and lock him up for 1,000 years. And there's not many people that are talking about that message, but are we at that part of the timeline yet?
We're in the garden. It's existential.